Hello there, and welcome again to another episode of Conversations with Women Trailblazers. Our guest today is business law attorney Shahara Wright. She's also a world-renowned author and an international speaker. Shahara, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I'm excited too. Today we have a lot of information for you guys, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. So Shahara, right before we start, why don't we tell people how were you as a young girl?
My mom would probably say I was bossy, and always telling her what to do. She always tells a story that I've been telling her what to do since I was 3. So that was probably me. Very driven, very clear about what I wanted. So if there was something I wanted then to do, then I was going to do it. I think I've always kind of been self sufficient. So that's pretty much me. I don't know that I've changed, probably mellowed since I was a young girl. I'm a lot calmer than I is, but I definitely think I was very fierce and on fire, as I was younger.
Were you always in Houston?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Houston. I left to Virginia for college and then Lubbock, Texas, for law school, and then came right back home.
Absolutely awesome. So tell us a little bit about your business. Who do you serve? Who are the people that come to your practice in help, asking for help with their businesses? Who is this person?
So I work with small businesses and nonprofit organizations. Their businesses are usually between, 7, 8 figures, and that's true for the nonprofit and the for-profit. And so, just kind of as the individual, we're talking about, this is usually going to be, I would say, probably a serial entrepreneurs. They maybe have one larger business that has done well, taken off, now needs ongoing legal support. So they may have been the attorney in the group, or they may have had a friend being the attorney in the group, but they need more structure. So now they need someone to really review those contracts, manage the employee situations, manage maybe real estate if they're buying real estate. Maybe they're looking to expand, buy another business, create another business to be able to do other things, IPs such as trademarks and copyright. So there could be all these other legal aspects that this business needs that they no longer, or should realize they no longer need to be handling it. And so now they're ready to have somebody to be a part of the team and understand their business and assist with legal strategy and process and those kinds of things. And then on the nonprofit side, you have that same thing. And in addition, you're probably having an organization that needs some board management issues, conflict of interest, understanding the difference with handling the board and the ED and the things that go on within a nonprofit that are legal in nature, that maybe they don't have consistent legal counsel, and it's time. So I think my clients, just when they come, they realize that they no longer should be the person that's handling this. They really need to have a professional.
So you have a range of clients. It's not this one type of business or this one type of entity that can approach you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually, it's pretty eclectic. I think most of my clients are service based, don't have a lot of product based clients. The ones that do have products probably have, a service and product along with it. So most of my clients are service based. With the nonprofits, most of them serve marginalized communities. So they operate across the U.S., so they're multi states. So we're obviously having to deal with various different issues across the states, and some operate internationally as well.
Okay. And since you practice in Texas, does this prevent people from outside of Texas to contact you, or can someone, let's say New York, they need a business lawyer, can they reach out to you, or is not?
Yeah. So I have clients across the U.S. They're not just in Texas. There are going to be some things that I may not be able to do in a particular state, but I act as general counsel for businesses and nonprofits. And really what that means is I'm their legal department. So I means that whatever legal issue it has, it runs through me. And then if we need to bring in other counsel, then I'll go look for that counsel and say, hey, we need to find somebody that can do this particular work so that I can oversee um, that legal work. I think one of the things that frustrates, business owners is that obviously within the legal space, people specialize. And so you need an attorney for this, and attorney for that. And then you're kind of managing four different attorneys, and that could be overwhelming. Well, when you have general counsel, then that counsel is going to manage that for you, and you don't have to worry about that.
That's great. That's much easier, I suppose, for a business owner.
Yes.
And as someone who has years of experience, is there something that you notice, something in common among your clients that you may say, if you had done this earlier, or if you had approached this from this route, it would have been easier? Is there something, a mistake or something that they don't know that's happening that that you see recurrently?
I mean, I think the common mistake, and I think all business owners do this, right? So it's not any one particular person. You're going to notice this in yourself, is that you hold on to stuff too long because you don't want to pay the expense, right? So whether you're doing your own books for too long and you realize that, hey, if I would have given this over to an accountant, maybe I would have saved myself some taxes. You holding on to doing and reading your own contracts for too long, and you realize you start having these problems, and had you gotten professional help a little bit earlier, maybe, you wouldn't have had some of these problems with the contracts and things like that. So I think for all of us, which is true, is that we do things ourselves too long, right? We DIY it way too long. And we don't really think about investing in professional assistance until we have problems. And that's probably the worst time to do it. But that's usually when business owners start to reach out, when it becomes a problem.
Absolutely. And one thing I've noticed, or I found out a few years ago, is that some business owners may have one type of business and they want to start another business, but they use the same entity, either it's a corporation or a company. How does that affect it? First of all, is that legal? Is this possible? Or should we have separate entities for our types of businesses? For example, a professional business under a license versus a service business that does not require a professional license. How would they approach it?
I think it depends, obviously, on what's going on. And I always look at the situation. I don't look at it as a one size fit all type of thing, because I think that you can expand within the same business if it makes sense. And sometimes it does make sense because you want this business to be bigger, right? And when you separate it, obviously the income for each is going to be smaller. And of course, it's a lot more difficult to manage more than one business than it is just the one business. So I think a lot depends. So I look at number one, liability, right? Do we have the same type of liability as another entity? So I'm just going to use a doctor, for example. No reason. But we have, so we have a doctor that has a medical practice, right? And then maybe they want to open up a med spa. Well, we don't want that med spa to be connected to the medical practice, the main medical practice, because of liability reasons, right? Because if something happens to one, we don't want it to affect the other. So we want to separate those. There may be something where we have, I'm just going to use a business coach, and a business coach wants to start selling digital products. Well, I wouldn't have a business coach create a separate business simply for digital products, because it's not, the liability really isn't that big of a difference. So those are some kinds of ways that we would do this. Maybe you're looking at buying some real estate and you're looking at buying, an office or something like that. You'd want the office, the real estate, to be held separately and apart from the main business. And that's more for tax reasons, where you can get tax deductions for paying rent, those kinds of things that you couldn't get from just owning the building outright, and in the same business. So you would create something else. So there's just all these different reasons why you might want to separate pieces of the business. Sometimes you might buy another company and you realize, you don't really want that company to be a part of the main business. You want to use it as a subsidiary. So there's all these different various scenarios. Again, it's not a one size fit all. I think you have to really look at the circumstances, talk through it. I always advise my clients, list it down with the accountant, because I'm not the tax expert. and talk about this. So with the client, with the legal, with the tax person, and maybe even the banker, finance person, whoever you may work, to kind of talk through these issues to see what makes sense.
Absolutely, that's very helpful. And I want to ask you, you have your own practice. You the president of the Wright law firm. Any challenges as a business owner, as a solo practitioner, law practitioner? What can you tell us? Any challenges from the business aspect, of course? Anything that you've learned or realized that you shouldn't do? Can you share anything with us?
Sure, so many. I don't even know if we have enough time to go through them. So, just for background, I'm a single mother, and when I started my business, and when I came out of law school, I had a young child and started my business, and I really just had to make it work. It really wasn't something that I was looking to do, and so one of the things that, as being a mom, you gotta kind of try to do this balancing act, and you have to make choices. And for me, my choice was that I wanted to be available for my kid when I needed to be available for my kid. And so that just required, meaning that there was a lot of business things that I could not do, and things that in ways that I could not do it to grow my business, and it kind of stagnated. I don't regret that, but that was just kind of a choice that I made, that, there were just things that I just couldn't do. And so because of that, my business was very small. Obviously, it didn't earn a lot of money, which it could have. I mean, I guess that's relative. I think I did pretty well with statistic wise, but not where I really wanted to be, because I made the choice to be available for my son. And even when I had my second son and got married and divorced and all of that in between, and my youngest has ADHD, I had to be present. So it was a choice that I made. But I think the mistakes in that is that I really just could not figure out how to balance all of that, how to still be able to function and get the money in and do the things that I want. I just kind of was going through industry practice as opposed to looking at it differently. So it took me a while to kind of find my space, a lot longer than I think it should have. But I think it was because I was doing stuff kind of on my own, in a sense. Then really trying to get with a group of people that were business minded and understood. I mean, I work with businesses, work with small businesses, but I think that was a bit more of a struggle than it needed to be at the time.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate you mentioned that, because I know of many women who want to do something different. We are professional women. We want to either continue with our careers and grow them, or have a business, or both. However, there's a reality for us as women who are mothers. We sometimes, or most of the time, have to either take a break or slow down our career because of our kids. And that's a personal choice. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's a very individual, personal choice. And I'm glad that you mentioned it, because it's something that some people may see as you don't have the work etiquette, or you are not actually into the job as much, right? But in reality, when you are the person who has to be in front of that family or the child, sometimes in the cases the child or the parent, because in other cases it's sick parents, or some of us like me, you have the younger kids and you have the sick parents and the new career, and then you have a new business, because hey, I don't have anything else to do with my time. So
right.
So we have to juggle. I like to say keep equilibrium, because I don't really know there's balance.
No, right.
Right. And then our energy has to shift from one side to another as the need arises. That's how I see it. And honestly, I applaud you for commenting it, for being very honest. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. Right? You've been able to continue your career. You've been able to make it happen. You surrounded yourself with people who are business minded, but also aware of your reality. So that's a possibility there. And I have to say thank you for saying that. So if you're out there listening to us and you're in that situation, it can also happen to you. You can also make it. Shahara, I want to really say thank you for your time, and I want to congratulate you on your practice. I've seen you throughout the years. Now I see you more often. I see you all the time on social media, on LinkedIn. And I get your newsletter. There you go. I'm actually her fan. So if people want to contact you, how can they reach out to you?
So the best way is to connect with me on social media. You can do that through LinkedIn and Facebook at The Wright Lawyer. That's TheWrightLawyer, The Wright Lawyer, and Wright is WRIGHT. On Instagram, it is The Real Wright Lawyer. So that's REAL. So The Real Wright Lawyer. And you can connect there. Also, of course, you can go to my website, which is thewrightlawyer.com. So all of those places you can go. I have blogs, I have information about business tips and all of these different things that are there. And you can go and get that information there. And that's kind of the best way to kind of stay in touch. And then, if you want to reach out, you can go to our website, our phone number is there, and use our contact form to get more information. And that's really the best way to stay in touch.
Thank you. And there you have it. If you need a lawyer, if you have a question, contact her through her website, or contact her to all the methods that she said now. This has been amazing, Shahara. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I will see you next time, everybody, on our next episode. Just subscribe and hit the notification bell for an alert when the next episode comes out. See you then.